I recently had to cut someone out of my life, and just before I hit that send button, I realized this is so confusing. And 5 months later, I was no closer to setting boundaries with this person, and I was more confused than ever. You see, the stress of keeping them in my life was actually driving me mad, but the thought of setting boundaries with this particular person actually made me feel like a terrible person. It's enough to make a grown woman want to curl up in the fetal position and just cry. So today, I want to share with you the 3 signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life, and the one thing that is going to get in your way if you don't address it. And at the end of this video, you are going to be able to spot these signs from a mile away. So let's start with the 3, maybe not so clear signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life. But first, I need to introduce you to Donna. Donna knows her hair is dead, but she can't seem to bring herself to cut it off. And knowing when to walk away from a toxic relationship is like trying to part with your dead, albeit long, hair. Or cutting that comb over. Oh, she went there. You know it's ugly. You know it's weighing you down. It's not serving you well at all, but you've actually become a little attached to it. It's kind of like a part of you. And you think it's better than nothing, right? Wrong. Oh, that was rhetorical. You know it's not serving you well, but you're so attached to what little you have that you're afraid to let it go. In order to have the clarity and the confidence that you're going to need in order to be able to walk away from these toxic relationships and stay away from these dangerous pitfalls, you are going to have a lot of wisdom and trust. Maybe even trust that you'll slay that sassy short hair, or rock the bald head, or rock the bald head. You want to have confidence because it's so scary to make a mistake, especially in your key relationships. Yeah, but not confidence in yourself, because that never works. Oh, but confidence in knowing that you're hearing the voice of God. Did you hear that? Because when He's guiding you, you don't fear making a mistake. I don't? No, you don't. So how do you get confidence in knowing when God is trying to purge someone from your life? It's really quite simple. It's trust. Now, not trust in your own abilities or your own wisdom, but in God. You see, we have to trust that God is guiding you because He wants what's best for you. God's timing is also perfect. In other words, it's not about what you want and when you want it. It's about submitting to what He's doing, regardless of what it looks like. Remember earlier when I told you that there was one thing that would stop you from recognizing whether God was trying to remove someone from your life or not? Yeah, we've been waiting on that. Yeah. Well, that one thing is clutter. No, not that kind of clutter. The clutter in your mind. The clutter that says things like, oh, but she apologized, or oh, but she's my sister, or oh, she's my mother. What am I supposed to do? Why is it always the women? It's not always. Cluttering your mind with the shoulds and shouldn'ts is only going to keep you trapped. Saying things like, oh, well, she shouldn't be treating me this way, or oh, well, she shouldn't say that about me, or oh, I shouldn't be feeling this way. All of those should and shouldn'ts are only going to keep you trapped. Well, you shouldn't. I know. But shoulding all over yourselves and others isn't going to help. Getting caught in the toxic thought pattern of what someone else should or shouldn't be doing is going to put you on an emotional roller coaster with somebody else at the control. Give me that. So let's dive into the 3 signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life. Number 1, they're poisoning your garden. Look, I'm not much of a gardener. I got some serious black thumbs. In fact, I pointed out to my husband just the other day that we have this plant that is growing out of nowhere in our backyard, and it just grew so fast. Now, I didn't know any better. It was green. It had leaves. It looked like a plant to me. But when I touched it, ouch, that thing hurt. It didn't feel like any plant I wanted to be around, so I just left. Oh, so you avoided it, didn't you? Because the truth is, it wasn't a plant. It was a weed, a giant, prickly weed. And the problem with leaving these weeds in our garden is they're eventually going to choke out everything good. And the same is true for the toxic people in your life. And you'll be tempted to want to blame the weeds. But if we're being honest, we're the ones that sometimes just leave the weeds alone. Told you. We leave the weeds alone when we should have pulled them up. Weed people are those who cause strife and division in your life. They're a hindrance. They're not a help. They lie. They shame. They blame shift. My friend, you can't reform these weeds. So when someone in your life looks healthy and acts healthy 1 minute, but then you're constantly getting pricked by them the next minute, my friend, it's likely a sign that God is trying to remove this person because they aren't who you thought they were going to be. And allowing them to grow in your life isn't going to help them grow into a beautiful plant. That weed is only going to infect you. I want you to remember 1 Corinthians 15:33, that bad company corrupts good morals. And number 2 is a shift in feelings. Now, maybe you're getting along just fine, and then suddenly there's a shift in your feelings, whether it's your feelings towards them or their feelings towards you. And while feelings are fickle, I feel like a donut and shouldn't be followed just arbitrarily. They can certainly be an indicator of something that is happening within the relationship. After all, I want you to remember Exodus 7, where God hardened Pharaoh's heart. And if we look specifically at Romans 9:17, where it says, "For the scripture says to Pharaoh, I raised you up for this very purpose, that I might display my power in you, and that my name might be proclaimed in all the earth." Look, if God hardened Pharaoh's heart to fulfill his purpose, what makes you think that he won't do it to fulfill his purpose in your life? I never thought of it that way. Yeah, so now you can stop asking God to change their feelings towards you when it's actually God who did it in the first place. And the third sign that God is trying to remove someone from your life is that God removed them before, but you let them back in again. Oh, dang, she went there. Just because you conceded and let this person back into your life doesn't mean that's what God wanted. But I missed him. I know, it'll pass. Maybe you've been down this road before and you already mustered up enough courage to kick this toxic influence to the curb, but then you started vacillating in your mind. Well, we did say sorry. We did have some fun. I mean, she is my mother. I just feel so lonely. Okay, you can come back. Can people change? Yes, but the scripture is clear, and it says you'll know them by their fruit, because many people don't. My friend, fruit takes time to grow. So if you once had a rotten apple tree who's now claiming to be a healthy orange tree, you're gonna wanna give that some time, lots of time, to see if it produces any of the fruit that it claims. Just remember that God removed this person from your life, likely for a reason, and maybe for a season, but you're treading on very dangerous thin ice when you become the decider in that decision. Because chances are you're not driven by wisdom. Your rationale is driven by emotional distress. Nothing good comes from that. No, it doesn't. The truth is, leaving a toxic relationship is hard, even the ones that are terribly toxic for you. Things like pain from your past and old wounds can actually keep you trapped in something far beneath what God has for you. So how do you trust yourself to make this decision? You don't. Huh? Look, if you have a pattern of picking poor partners or allowing others to override your otherwise good judgment, then the truth is you can't be trusted. Ouch. Seeing the signs that God is trying to remove someone from your life is hard, but acting on that, that's even harder. And that's why it is imperative to educate yourself on videos such as this so you can learn how to set boundaries with these toxic people. Yeah. Watch that one next. It's good. Yeah. Before they infect your life. And if you want to learn how to identify and deal with all the difficult people in your life, I want to invite you to grab a copy of our free Toxic People Survival Guide. I'll go ahead and include a link in the description section below.